everyone, welcome back to Law Study Kit. I'm Rabia. I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer based in Toronto, and I am also the founder of Law Study Kit, which is an online platform that I have designed for NCA students who are looking for resources with the NCA exam. So if you're interested, you can take a look at our website. I'm gonna put it in the description box below. Today I'd like to talk about how valuable is your foreign legal experience. What do I mean by foreign legal experience? Basically meaning that if you have had experience in your home country or maybe somewhere around the world, will that benefit you in getting a job in Canada, or will it benefit you in your career, or just otherwise maybe applying for grad school? A lot of times people, when they move to Canada, they're worried that, I have tons and tons of experience. Will somebody recognize that experience, or is it just going to go to waste? Am I supposed to start from scratch? So I'm going to try to answer this question. Unfortunately, it's not black or white. The answer is not yes or no, but I'm going to try to make it as useful as possible. So if you're interested, keep watching. I want to address three things. First, I'm going to talk about when you say foreign legal experience, what kind of experience are you talking about and what skills do you have? So that is the first thing that I want to discuss, and I want to explain to you how to break that down. Next, I'm going to talk about how do you present your experience to an employer, to a school, or to somebody else that you're talking to. And then lastly, I'm just going to explain to you what I think and what my experience has been just looking around and just being in the industry for a couple of years now. First of all, when we talk about foreign legal experience, some people have experience in which they learn certain skills that can be used anywhere in the world. Just my personal opinion, any experience, good or bad, any job, which was great or the worst, teaches you something. So I don't think it's a waste of your time or anything like that, but it's just that what skills are you learning from that job? So rather than asking this question, is my foreign work experience going to help me? You just want to ask yourself, what skills do you have that you bring to the table? So for example, if you work in-house, you work at a bank, you work for a company, you've been reviewing contracts, you know how to read certain clauses, you know which clause is going to help the company, which clause is bad for the company, negotiation of contracts. I also know that, when you're working in-house, like mergers and acquisitions, you kind of help the company with due diligence. These are certain skill sets, for example, in corporate law, which you can bring, in my opinion, to anywhere in the world. Because all companies, either it's in your hometown or it's in Canada or the US, read contracts. You might not know exactly what the law is in Canada, but you have that skill of reading the contract, making sure which sections are important for the company, which sections are not. You understand what is it like being part of mergers and acquisitions. So if you have that experience, you're basically selling yourself by using a skill. So what is your skill set? Your skill set is contracts, contract review, contract management, contract negotiations. So that's the question that you want to be asking. So any experience that you have, think about what skills you bring to the table. If you're a manager, let's just say contract manager, you know how to manage a team, you know how to work in a team, you know how to get shit done. So this is what I would phrase if I'm applying for a job. So in my opinion, yes, foreign experience is valuable as long as you understand what skill you bring to the table. Just by saying I worked in banking industry for 10 years, like the banking industry might be different where you are or in Canada, but the skill set that you're going to learn is going to be similar. Maybe there are different things that you learn as you go, but that I feel like people don't appreciate this. And when you're talking to an employer or you're applying for a school here or whatever, you have to focus on skills. I worked in banking industry for 10 years, and my skill set includes contract management, contract review. I understand international negotiations, stuff like that. So this is where I think that you can kind of go back and ask yourself different questions. And you will never ask this question again, that whether foreign experience is valuable, because it's the skills. If you have the skills, somebody will give you a chance. At least that's how I like to think. Sometimes, people don't get chances, which is unfortunate. And that happens in Canada too. But this is, I would want to phrase it this way, just because skills can be used anywhere in the world. So the second thing that I want to discuss is, how do you present yourself to an employer or a school or whoever wherever you're interested in. The first thing to keep in mind is that if you've had foreign experience, and like I previously discussed, like, you have to present your skill set as opposed to just saying, I have this experience, I need a job. Anywhere you go, and I'm sure that you've learned this in your hometown as well, anything that you've learned, you have to present it in a way where the employer feels like you're going to be adding value to their company, to their team, to their firm, or wherever you're going to be working at. So how do you present yourself to an employer? Now, a couple of things that I think that I've mentioned previously as well, and people, when I was a student, I never thought that way, and I always thought that I have no skill set, I have nothing that I bring to the table, and I wasn't confident in anything that I did, just because, first of all, I didn't have a lot of experience, even foreign experience I didn't have. I moved here when I was younger, and I was literally just starting out at that time. So I had zero confidence in what I brought to the table. But I think that now when I look back at it, now that I work and I'm working as a lawyer, I feel like international talent it brings a lot to the table, and people don't sell it that way. So if you are an internationally trained lawyer and you have, let's just say, I don't know, you have a community, you know people in the country that you're coming from, you have connections, you know people in multinational companies that you worked at, you can always use that to sell yourself to a firm. And that could be a firm that, it could be, for example, you start working at a firm that does international business. So you're part of their team, and you are hired to, let's just say, help them with contracts and negotiations and all of that. So I know I keep saying contracts. I don't know why I keep saying that, but that's the example that I can think of right now. But if you're working there, you can always sell your skill sets. For example, you have worked with multinational companies across the globe. You have contacts. You can try to see if you can bring any clients. And even if you cannot, even if you're not sure, you can always present this as a way to sell yourself. Because the thing about people, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, people who grow up in Canada, just stay in Canada, don't have that mindset where they can think about like international business. Of course, they learn it. I'm not saying that they can't, but if you are somebody who's moving, you have that network, you have the ability to understand different cultures. You can present that as a skill as well, that you have cultural competency to be able to understand, like, how do you speak to people from different cultures? And that's something that we learn when we're studying for the Ontario bar exams, that cultural competency is something that lawyers should have. So you already have that. And the other things that you can also sell is, if you have an international background, you can look at international firms. You can also get into international business, like I said. You can also get into immigration. If you have a network, you can also do corporate. So there are certain areas that you can enter, but how do you present yourself is what really matters. So just keep that in mind. Like you can present your skills even if you, for example, like if you have connections in the country that you're from, you can always talk about it and say that I've made connections. I can try to see if I can make some of those connections into clients, even if you can't, but that's something that you can use to sell yourself. Now, all of these things that I'm telling you, some employers might be interested, but again, there are some employers who will not and will not recognize this at all. And unfortunately, that's something that is a bitter reality. But I think that these are basic things that you can try. But at the end of the day, if an employer does not really think that international experience is something that is valuable to them, they won't hire you. But this is how it works in Canada. A lot of it is skill and how you present yourself to an employer. And that's something that I have had to learn over the years. When I started out, I wasn't like this before. And now when I look back at it, like it has taken me years and years of working at different places to understand this. So always remember that international experience is valuable if you present it as a skill set as opposed to I have this experience. And then how do you present yourself to an employer? Always talk about how your experience will benefit them. If you have international experience, it will benefit them because you have, I don't know, cultural competency. You're able to talk to clients from different backgrounds. You understand what is it like to speak to people who come from different backgrounds. So that's something that I would recommend. Last thing I want to talk about is my personal experience and what I have seen and what I think about it. Now, more so, I have noticed that employers are not willing to look at international experience. And that is very sad because they don't recognize that the talent that international students, international lawyers, international, I don't know, that they bring to the table. If anyone is motivated enough to move to a different country, go through the immigration process, they know what they're doing. You can't doubt their motivation or their ability to get shit done. So I have definitely seen more rejections than approvals, but I don't want to say that it's impossible. A lot of times people struggle in the beginning, but there's this one opportunity that you need. If you get that one opportunity and you prove yourself, then it's only upwards from there. So I think that yes, it is hard, and I have seen a lot more rejections than acceptances where employers are like, yes, I value your experience. So, but that doesn't mean that it is impossible. And I would frame it, I don't want to discourage anyone who's watching because like my goal with this is to encourage internationally trained lawyers to come to Canada, apply to become lawyers, and you know, it will benefit you in the long run. There are a lot more opportunities in Canada. You can start your own firm, you can do your own thing. But I don't want to take away from the fact that it is very hard. And it's not like you apply for jobs and employers will call you right away. It will take time. But just to give you an idea, I think that a lot of times employers are hesitant in calling people who have a lot of experience from different parts of the world is that they might need to pay them more. So that's also something to keep in mind. Like if you're starting out, I mean, of course you should be paid according to your experience. But having the flexibility in the beginning just to get experience can also be beneficial. I don't know if you should do that or not do that, but just sharing what I have experienced and I have seen in the past. Just to summarize, I have seen people who have found jobs very quickly, and I've also seen people who did not find jobs up until now. So not to say that they're doing anything wrong or these people were doing anything right. Luck plays a big factor in what you get and what you don't get. But I'd like to think that if you consistently try, you'll get something. And when you come to Canada, the goal is to get that first job so you have that experience. And from that point onwards, you know, things will get easier for you. But you're right when you say that if nobody's giving you a chance to get that Canadian experience, like where do you go? And that's something that unfortunately I don't even have a solution for that, but I would like to motivate people who are watching me to be like, yeah, just try it out, see what happens. If you get it, if you don't get it, that's not your problem today. But if it happens, you can figure out a way how to deal with it. So that's just my recommendation and what I have observed. If you are a foreign trained lawyer who've had issues landing a job, you can comment in this comment below and let other people know. Like, are you still there? Were you able to get out of it? Like, what is your advice? And if there's some people who were able to get jobs right away, like let us know what you did, and so that other people can learn as well. This is the goal for this channel, is that, you know, I want to share real stuff as opposed to just portraying a picture of everything which is good and, you know, things are going fine. But the reality is it is tough, it's hard, but once you cross the bridge and when you look back at it, you're happy that you did it. So thanks guys for watching, and yeah, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you find my content helpful, and share this video with somebody who is interested in becoming a lawyer in Canada. Thank you.